country. I mean, how absurd is that?
Well, what difference would it have made yesterday had he not gone to that ball game?
Yeah, the difference it would have made is it would have made people feel that he is the leader, that he's in charge. Here's what I would have done. Immediately left, gotten the national security staff together, and I'd say, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I want a complete plan on how we destroy ISIS. No BS.
You don't think he has that?
If he does, it's failing. You better get a new one. How many attacks have we had in the last year? If he has a plan for defeating ISIS, let's go get another plan to defeat ISIS.
Well,
because ISIS, so far, has conducted more attacks in the last 7 or 8 months, 9 months, including in the United States.
We've had over 20,000 sorties, bombing raids over Syria.
Well, maybe they're not working. Maybe they're not working. Maybe the strategy, as the Admiral pointed out, isn't working. If he can't figure out that his strategy is not working, we need somebody else to do that job.
And there are different dynamics, Joe, in Europe that are making Europe porous to ISIS attacks.
Well, there certainly are, but again, it goes back to what General Hayden said. General Hayden, you said we have to do more than just sit back and wait for the next attack. We actually have to strike them where they are. Why don't you answer Mike Barnicle's question to Mayor Giuliani? Does it appear that we have an effective plan of attack against ISIS right now?
Joe, my standard comment about our current plan is that it's under-resourced and over-regulated. Too many restrictions, not enough resources. And Mike just said 20,000 sorties, but if you do the math, we're doing about 20 strikes a day. That is not a relentless campaign. And Joe, can I just offer a comment on the previous conversation about what the president did? I'm going to say something that's going to sound pretty harsh, but I think it's true. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't weakness. That was policy. His going to the ballpark and his spending less than a minute commenting on the attack. I actually believe in his heart of hearts the president's policy is that is not that big a deal. There are other things that are more important, and that was what he was messaging.
He has, Mayor Giuliani, and most Americans do not understand it. He, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, has been underestimating ISIS's reach from the very beginning, calling them a JV team, and then saying that they were a JV team that had on a Kobe Bryant jersey, but they were still a JV team. And then the Friday before the Paris attack, saying that they were pretty much finished. And then before Oklahoma City, saying that they couldn't reach us in the United States of America. And then, again, it does seem to be a calculated approach by this White House to say ISIS is much ado about nothing at the end of the day.
In the long run, it's an approach by this White House to say that Islamic extremist terrorism really is not at war against us, when, in fact, the Prime Minister of France was quite clear that they are at war against France, Europe, and the rest of the world. He doesn't recognize that. So he acts like this is another criminal act that was committed in New York yesterday. And, of course, if it was just another criminal act in New York, I'd go on with my job as mayor. But when they attacked the World Trade Center, first thing I did was get out of the Peninsula Hotel and rush to the World Trade Center to make sure that my resources were in place, that we had the right plan in place. And if it turned out it was the wrong plan, then I changed it the next day. Well, obviously, he has the wrong plan, and he's got to change it. And you don't change it from a communist country communicating from a communist country. And you don't send a picture of yourself laughing while people have just been blown up at a level that, as the Admiral pointed out, is the equivalent of September 11 to one of our allies. Imagine if there was a picture of the President of France laughing during September 11. How would we feel about that?
Rudy Giuliani.